What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be telling my life story. I've never told this start to finish before. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, how I went from fat to skinny, no confidence in the world, to where I am today, semi-jacked, I guess you can say, confident. Yeah, so it all started kind of growing up. I was always just the bigger kid, right? I was always the bigger kid. I would eat a lot out of boredom. I didn't do very well in school, and I would literally eat going on walks with my family. I'd bring food with me. I think it was a place of boredom, so I would just eat and eat. I would eat a lot of food, right? So, and I played 9 sports growing up. I was very active. Played 9 sports. Baseball was my main. I played all the sports, like a lot of sports you wouldn't even think of, like rugby or something like that. I'd play growing up, and I always had that low confidence, I guess you could say. I didn't have like a million friends or anything. I had the moves, the boobs, I guess you could say, and I had a stomach on me always. And it wasn't till about, I would say freshman year where I kind of wanted to change, but I never knew how to change. And I just didn't feel confident in my body. I had like a large shirt for being a freshman in high school. I had a large, extra large shirts just to like uncover all, my stomach, my chest, all of that. I would just try to cover all that up. And I just didn't feel good. I was like, I'm tired of this. I know I can do something better than this. I want to get in shape. I want to start lifting. And so freshman year, I would start lifting some weights at the high school gym. I was throwing around some, mainly just powerlifting type of stuff, athletic stuff, like your typical benching, squatting, deadlifting, cleans. Haven't done those in years. So I was doing all those and didn't really switch much with my diet at all. But I, was starting to get involved in the gym, which was a good sign. I was starting to get involved in it. I met some people in there in my high school gym, and then I believe it was COVID. Yeah, COVID was my freshman, halfway through my freshman year. COVID hit, and I started, me and my dad started getting home gym equipment, and I started to, I really started to invest into this. I wanted to work out more. I wanted to, actually make some transformation. So we got some dumbbells. We got a bench press. He already had like a weeder machine. It has like a chest press. And then like a lat pull down on it. And so we got that. I started working out during COVID because I just didn't know what to do. I was so bored. Baseball was cut off for a while. So I was just practicing in my backyard, playing baseball. And then I started lifting. And after that, I started to research a little bit about food. Not too much, obviously, because I ended up losing, about 45 pounds. Yeah, I went from 190 of a lot of fat to 145 to a straight stick. And this is probably me at 5'9", 5'10", if I had to assume. And so I got way too skinny. Developed, I would say to this day, it's an eating disorder. Developed an eating disorder back then because I would just eat. I've shown my meals before. It was simply just a little piece of fish, a little sweet potato, a couple pieces of broccoli. Some days I would go with eating just a can of green beans, just literally one can of green beans. I would drink 2 gallons plus of water, and I would only eat probably about 1,500 calories a day, no more than 2,000 for sure. When I was doing all these workouts here in my basement, actually, in the back there, I was doing ab workouts, and I just didn't eat right at all. And, I just didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to look up ab workouts, try to get those quick, easy abs like we see today. Like, you try to get the quick, easy abs. You try to lose fat, so you try to, fast. You try to starve yourself, and I didn't know any better. And, my family started to say things to me too, like, is that all you're going to eat? Like, why are you getting so skinny? Like, what's going on here? You're getting way too skinny. You're a skinny ass. You're just bones now. Like you've took yourself from, a fatter guy who didn't have any confidence, and you thought that getting skinny was going to change all your problems, but then that made my confidence go even lower. It made my confidence go even lower because I was so skinny. I went from the fatness. I was so tired of the fatness that I went too far with it, way too far with it. So I got super, super skinny. I lost muscle. And all I could see was a bird chest. All I could see was, small legs, chicken legs. And I was so disappointed in myself. I was like, dang, where have I come? And that was a really hard time for me. Very hard time, like everyone was for COVID. It was definitely a hard time for the whole world. And I just didn't know where I was going. I was just sad. I was depressed. I just didn't know what I was going to do because I got super skinny. I wasn't hanging out with anybody. I just had no confidence for nothing. No confidence. And, I got a few compliments, but they just weren't good compliments. I didn't feel like, because, when you go from 190 of fat to 145 to skinny, it doesn't help. People think it's going to help you, be more confident. It really doesn't, because I lost muscle. And I always had that fear of, eating more is going to make me fat, and I didn't understand what actually fuel was, what food was, what calories was. That's energy. I didn't understand that. Carbs, I stayed the hell away from carbs. My energy was low. I had an obsession with just staying small, almost staying lean. And I thought I was disciplined, but really I was just scared. So that was my sophomore year. And then junior year, I actually transferred schools. I moved schools because I wanted to change things up, switch things up. I didn't have too many friends at the school I was at. So I switched schools, and I ended up going to co-ed school. And I started to actually research. That's when I started to kind of research everything, to really like have a good grip on like fitness and, eating right and training right and the science behind it all. I really started to just to research so much, and I started to get knowledgeable. It was the fall of my junior year. Started the research. I switched up gyms after, so COVID happened. Then I went to a gym, and then I switched up to a bigger gym because it's fitness, and I started training there. I started eating right. I'm like, if I'm going to put on muscle, if I'm trying to get this muscle back by also staying lean, here's how I'm going to do it. And I started researching, how do I do this? Like, what are protein? What are carbs? What are fats? How many calories in and out? What's energy? Like, how many meals should I have per day? Like, all this science. What is creatine? What is protein powder? What is all of this stuff? What is it? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what anything was. So I just researched. And I learned from my mistakes. That, eating a can of green beans ain't going to get you through a day. It's not going to help you survive at all. You're not going to grow. You're just going to get rid of everything. And training, the twos in the days, or the 2 in a day workouts. And so I just started researching everything, and I started training properly. I'm like, okay, dang, this is how you contract your back. Wait, you got to go slow. Like, just everything. I just started to research. That's when I really got involved into it, and I started to take more supplements too to help me out. I started to just take more supplements, and that's when things started changing. I started to grow a back. I got a little bit of arms on me. I started to grow the chest. Thank you for my pops for the good chest and trap genetics, by the way. But I started to really get a really good back, and legs started to grow, like no more chicken legs. Legs started to grow. I just started to train super hard. Sorry, energy drinks. But I started to go super heavy, the right way, with good form, time under tension, all of that. Like, this is how I'm going to grow. Like, and, everyone was talking about they hated leg day, and I was like, why? Like, I love leg day. Like, let's get after it. I started to create this thing in my mind that just to stay disciplined, to get through it, just to go. And I started to create just great eating habits. I started to create recipes and different things, high protein ideas, just so many different things. And I started to understand my body and how I work throughout the day and what kind of meals I like and I don't like. And I started to realize, hey, you don't have to eat, chicken and broccoli all the time. You don't have to eat fish and sweet potatoes. Like, you don't have to just eat this basic ass shit all the time. And that's when I started to realize, dang, this is fun. This is easy. This is fun. This is easy. So a couple years were going by, and after I really started to actually put something on where I feel good again. I'm confident again. I'm starting to get more confident. So a couple years went by, had my first heartbreak. That got me into the mental aspect of it, that most of it is mental. It's not about the muscle building. It's not about the muscle building or the fat loss or the strength. It's all up here. It's all in your mental game. And that's when I really first started to realize that. And I think that's something that made me the most stronger in my life, was going through that and understanding the gym wasn't there just because I wasn't in the gym just to put on muscle. It really wasn't. It was for this up here. It was for everything that was going on in my life. I went into that gym and I hit those weights harder than ever, because that's what made me feel good. It was my therapy. And and I didn't want to, get into drugs. I wanted to stay away from that stuff, because I knew that was not a good direction to go, towards. And I got into the alcohol a little bit. I did during that time, but I stayed primarily in the gym and, kept my head forward, and we got through it. And I'm blessed I did, because it was just a learning experience for me. So just kept, and I started to eat my fear foods as well. That's another thing. I started to eat my fear foods around that time. Like actually not eating a donut and going crazy, not eating a cookie and feeling like I have to run 5 miles now because I ate one, chocolate chip cookie from Walmart or something. So, just eating the fear foods, the donuts, the pizzas, all of that. That's something another thing that just really pushed me forward. I just felt confident, and all this stuff adding together with all my confidence in getting through everything, the mental aspect, learning nutrition, learning training, learning the confidence aspect of things, learning all of that, where, 4 to 5 years of learning all that has really helped me out and helped me become a man and see the other things in life besides just the nutrition, the fitness side of things. That there's so much more than fitness. There's so much more than fitness. It's just so much more. It's about being a good man, being a man of God, taking care of others, being able to do things with others, and that's by prioritizing your health, having a good mental game, having confidence to do certain things. It all generated outside of just the fitness. That's how I was able to create a mind and create confidence for myself, was through fitness. It all came with fitness. And that's how I got better and better over, the 4 to 5 years of training and eating right and having the confidence and studying and learning and learning and learning. And I'm still learning today. I'm still learning so many different things. And it's just been a crazy ride. And I've been blessed to be able to, coach others through it, because I've been there. I've been through both of the struggles of being fat and then being skinny, not having the right, foods. I've been through both of them, and I've understood them, and the side effect of, the side of, being busy as well, being super busy, and how to structure your life around things. How can I get this meal in at this time? What do I eat? How much protein should I eat per meal? What should I stay away from? What should I, not? What's the timing of everything? Why am I doing this? What's the end goal? Why would I do that? Right? I don't have the discipline to do it. I don't have the motivation to do it. Well, no, it's not the motivation. It's your standard. It's your why behind things. Why are you doing it? Because I'm a high level man that's performing for myself, for God, for my wife, for my kids. It's all of that. This is who I want to be remembered as. That's how you have to see it. And I've been so blessed to be able to help people get to that goal. And we're just growing. So, yeah, just know if you're stuck in your own body, you're not broken. Like you're simply just early in the process. That's how I felt years ago. I felt like I would never ever be here when I was doing those, crunches right over there. How am I going to be able to look like somebody else? Like, how am I going to be able to look jacked one day? Dang, I wish that day would come right now. I wish that day would come right now. And here we are today. And I'm pretty proud of my physique and what I've built, over the years, because these things take time. And I've been able to, stay the course and be patient with everything and stay with the training, the nutrition, and everything else. So just know you're not broken and you will get there. It's a long process. You just got to stick with it, consistency over everything. Create the momentum, small wins every single day. And it's going to translate into your whole life. So, my name's Ethan Diesenroth. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much.